Welcome to the first session of this series on the signs of the end times. And in this first session, we're going to see just a little bit about the prophecies that Jesus gave, prophecies in the book of Revelation, and also prophecies concerning pandemics. Now, first of all, look at the prophecies that Jesus gave. Matthew 24 and in Luke chapter 21. I've written down a list of the things that Jesus prophesied were going to happen in the last days, from false prophets and false Christs, all different kinds of famines and earthquakes and wars. And yet these things are not the end. They're just the beginning of sorrows. And we see the persecution and lawlessness and terror that's going to increase. But there's also going to be global evangelism and great revival. And then there's going to be a great tribulation and the second coming. These are things that Jesus prophesied were going to happen. In the book of Revelation, we see 4 waves of things that are going to happen. There's the 7 seals, there's the 7 trumpets, there's the 7 thunders, there's the 7 vials of judgment that are going to be poured out on the face of the earth. We see the 7 seals in Revelation 6-8. Now, these are 4 horsemen bringing unbelievable pressures on the face of the earth. 25% of humanity are going to be killed. Massive shakings in the heavens and the earth. In Revelation 8-10, we see the 7 trumpets. 1/3 of the trees and all grass dies. 1/3 of seafood, sea life is going to die. 1/3 of water is going to become poisonous. It's going to be a deathly destruction taking place on the face of the earth. Then Revelation 10, we have the 7 thunders. They're not recorded specifically. In fact, John was forbidden to record them. But have a look in Psalm 29 and you might get a bit of an idea of the power of the thunderous voice of God. Then we have the 7 bowls, the plagues of wrath on the Antichrist kingdom in Revelation 15-17. Ugly, festering sores on all those who have received the mark of the beast, the 666. The drinking waters are all polluted. People are being scorched. Terrible horror. The islands and continents being shaken in the great judgments of God coming at the end of the age. And then we come to the 3rd one, global pandemics. You know, we've had this COVID-19 crisis and people are so worried. But there's been many pandemics in history. We go back to the Black Plague in 1346 and 200 million people were killed. And we've had the plagues of cholera and the different flu plagues coming down to this COVID-19. Well, that's actually only a small one compared to all of the others. And then when we compare it to the murderous practice of abortion, look what happens. Just in the last 4 months of this year, 14.3 million are slain. But now we're in lockdown. And in lockdown, this is a double preparation. It's a preparation for the world, to prepare the world to hand over to an Antichrist to take control of the systems of the world. But it's also a time of preparation for the church, to know how to use the power of God and to walk in the image and likeness of Christ, that we might see the full revelation of the power of God in the last days. And maybe that's the greatest sign in the last days. And in Isaiah 60, we see that God has given a tremendous promise. The glory of God revealed on his people is going to bring multitudes running into the kingdom of God. There's no limit to what God's going to do in these last days. So we don't need to fear. The promise of Psalm 91 still applies. We can run to him for grace and for protection because God's got a mighty plan for his church and he wants you to be a part of it.